As Ren Kanagi was walking home, walking through the streets of night, he could hear a voice, a lovely voice of a girl that was singing. It was coming from near the park as he made his way closer to identify who it was. The girl introduced herself as Iumi, and she was just looking to explore. Apparently, she had never been to a park, never done anything like going on the swings or enjoying a dessert or even seeing the beach. Ren didn't know anything about this girl at all, but he found himself drawn to her nonetheless. In the meantime, Kazuma and Ayano were off enjoying dinner. Well, more so, Ayano was enjoying dinner. Their partnership had settled in for the most part, that being Kazuma was just a glorified babysitter, but her father paid well, really well. It was obvious that he was trying to get Kazuma back into their good graces, and for the most part, it was kinda working. Kazuma still had no intentions on joining back with the Kanagi family or anything of that matter. No, this was all strictly business. Everything from exploring paranormal schools to dealing with mischievous pixies, and the latter having come back seeking help from Kazuma. He was the only one that could help. The pixie's name was Tiana, and she had come by seeking help from the ice magic user because he was one of the strongest magic users that she knew. He had formed a contract with the spirit queen of ice and winter, and she needed his help. The pixies had a treasure, a sacred treasure that was stolen from them by earth magic users, the Suuki family, one of the strongest in earth magic. For Kazuma, he was expecting his reward, of course. About half of whatever their treasury was as compensation, but he was more than eager to help. Because he had beef with the Suubukis. He'd clashed with them from time to time. He even had the pleasure of fighting against some of their finest assassins. But he hated them. He hated the way they operated. The Suubukis, they had a certain practice that Kazuma could not tolerate. In the meantime, as Ren was enjoying his night with Iumi, men in suits would suddenly appear with their guns drawn, ordering for Ren to step away from the girl. Although they didn't even refer to her as a girl, they talked about her like she was a thing, some piece of property, like she wasn't even human. Of course, even though Ren didn't understand the full situation, he did not want to leave her. Using his fire magic, he melted away at the guns, revealing himself to be a member of the Kanagi family. It's not every day you meet one of the future heads of the Kanagi clan. We work under the Suuki family. I believe that even someone like you should be aware that any type of conflict between clans could lead to war. That thing beside you, it's not human, so don't be fooled. It's nothing more but Suuki property. If you were wise, you'd step away from her and forget all about her. Iumi was prepared to go with them, believing that this would be for the best, and Ren was backing away. They thought that he had seen reason, but if that's what they believed, they were quite wrong, as Ren would create a wall of fire backing all of them off, warning them to stay away. Creating cover, Ren would leave with the girl. He didn't know where they were going to go, but he knew he couldn't just leave her. Of course, this was only going to create an even bigger mess, because for Ren, he technically had stolen Suuki property, and word would soon get back to the Kanagi family. Kazuma had left with the pixie, and they couldn't get a hold of him. By the time Ayano had returned home, she would learn what had happened. She learned from her father, Jugo, that the Suabukis had accused Ren of stealing what was rightfully theirs, and that under law, they had the full rights to take it back from him by full and lethal force. Technically speaking, Jugo couldn't stop them, and if he tried to get anyone else involved, a war between the two families could already spell disaster. Even in this modern age, while most clans usually try to keep things peaceable, regardless to what magic you practice, whether you be in the elemental magic, cursed magic, or any other type, clans always had a rule. That rule being, handle your affairs as under the table as possible. In these modern times, war was not beneficial. The last thing you needed, for example, were two clans duking it out in the streets like this was the Wild Wild West. For one, it would expose them to the outside world. Technically, there were some that already knew about them, but you still had many of your non-believers. And quite frankly, you wanted to keep it that way. To keep the veil between reality and the reality that they thought they knew. It was a way of maintaining the balance, of maintaining that peace. But when powerful clans began to clash with one another, if the situation wasn't handled swiftly, safe to say the streets would be filled with fire, earthquakes would raze skyscrapers to the ground, and Japan could potentially turn into World War III. And that was the last thing that anyone wanted. Ayano, having no choice, would have to go out and try to find Ren on her own. Hopefully before the Suabuki clan would. But what was Ren going to do? The girl that he knew as Iumi, she was being hunted by the Suabuki family for something that he didn't understand, for something he didn't know. Iumi would then reveal the truth to Ren. The truth about the Suabukis. At the same time, ironically enough, Kazuma was doing the same to the pixie. As she wondered, why exactly did Kazuma hate them so much? Safe to say, the Suabukis aren't on my happy list, Kazuma said. 300 years ago, there was a war. There was a beast back in those times that walked the earth and caused chaos in its wake. The Suabukis, a clan of earth magic users, fought against this creature at the base of Mount Fuji. They implored the earth spirits to help them seal away the beast inside of the mountain. The earth spirits agreed. But this beast is powerful. So powerful that even with the full might of the earth spirits sealing it away, the seal is not eternal. But then again, no seal ever really is. They're not? Tiana would ask. Nope. Even some of the strongest seals and barriers get weak from time to time. Hell, I heard back in 1999 the seal to hell almost broke open and almost plunged the world into Armageddon. Wait, you're saying that even the seal to hell doesn't last forever? It's not that they don't last. They get strong and they get weak. It's like maintenance. Just because you build something, it doesn't mean that it just lasts forever. No. If you don't regularly check up on it, make sure that it's up to code, eventually, it'll fall. The common misconception about seals or sealing magic or any type of sealing in general is that everyone thinks that a seal is just a one-size-fits-all, that it's just this thing that'll last forever and ever. A seal is like a house. If you make a house that's poorly built, poorly constructed, then when the storm comes along, it's blown away like nothing. But even when you make a seal, much like a house, that's perfectly well built, that's strong, that's reinforced, it might survive one storm, two storms, 3, 4, 5. Hell, it might survive 1,000 storms, but eventually it'll be worn down. And if it's not regularly checked up on, regularly enhanced, sooner or later it will fall. And you could say that the seal on Mount Fuji is like that. Every 30 years, it has to be restored. And it can only be restored with the life of a Suuki. So they hold this grand ceremony, as they call it, but it's nothing but a sacrifice of their own family. This creature must really be terrifying. It is. It's been sealed for over 300 years, but yet its name still strikes fear in the hearts of many. The beast known as Fin Fang Foom. As Ren would come to learn of this truth, his heart would begin to break. He had heard tales of this creature, the beast known as Fin Fang Foom. Of course, even for members of the Kanagi family, Fin Fang Foom was little more than a boogeyman. But to learn that it was actually real, a real and genuine threat, it changed everything. But why? Ren would say. Why does it have to be you? Why do you have to be the sacrifice? It's what I was meant to do, Ren, Iumi would say. All my life, I've always known that this was my duty. That the only thing that I was ever made for was to be a sacrifice. But really, it's okay. I mean, I get to protect the world. A world where you can live in. And knowing that, it makes me happy. But it's not fair. It doesn't matter. You deserve to live in this world just as much as anyone else. No one should be used as a sacrifice. I'm happy that you feel that way, Ren. You've shown me so much in just a brief amount of time. I've seen and done more than I ever thought I could. And for that, I am truly grateful. Ren wanted to keep his promise to her, to show her the beach in the daylight. Even under the cover of night, they would arrive to the beach, the full moon shining up ahead. For Iumi, she was happy to be here, to actually see it with her own eyes. It was then that Ren would hold his hand to the sky as he concentrated on his fire magic. He created a ball of fire that seemed like the sun itself. It hung in the air, blocking the moon. And for the briefest of moments, Iumi got to see what the beach looked like in the daytime, as this mini-like sun burnt up ahead. It gave her just the faintest look of something she had always wanted. Because tonight would be her last night. She had never been allowed to leave her compound, never allowed up on the surface. So for this to be the one chance that she'd ever get up above, even if it were just for a moment, to see something so beautiful, to see something that was made just for her, it filled her heart with joy. Well, what do we have here? The voice of an older woman could be heard behind them. Behind her stood two men, one dressed in armor and the other one dressed in a suit. I didn't think that anyone could fall in love with that thing. But it seems that even miracles can happen sometimes. Iumi, the older woman said. Don't you think that you've played around long enough? Mayumi, oh, I was coming back. I just wanted to... Save your excuses. Yes, sir. Iumi! Iumi would walk to the woman. The woman known as Mayumi would grab her by the neck, slapping her around, and the man in the suit kicking her while she was down. You insolent, stupid, pathetic piece of trash! You made Miss Mayumi worry for nothing! How dare you! How dare you! Enough! Ren would yell as he shot out fire, only for it to be blocked by the man in the armor. Look, kid, the man in armor said. Between me and you, this is nothing personal. This is just Suabuki business. I understand. You have a good heart. But right now, you need to focus on what's most important. Do you really want to start a war over something that's not even human? Why do you keep saying that? Take a good look at Lady Mayumi and Iumi. They look kind of similar, don't they? Do you wonder why that is? Family? You're gonna sacrifice family. Like I would ever be family with this. No, kid. They're not family. Although they are blood related. Iumi is Lady Mayumi's clone. A clone? Yeah, a clone. Nothing but a cheap copy of the original. She ain't the first and she ain't the last. How do you think that they've been able to maintain sacrifices? Look, in the beginning, it was kind of rough, trying to find a family member to sacrifice. We didn't like it ourselves, so we came up with an alternative. We find one person that's compatible, and we misclone them. That way, the seal can be maintained, the beast stays in control, and everyone's able to live. If you ask me, I think that's a fair trade-off, don't you? But what about Iumi? Iumi is just Lady Mayumi. She is a clone. She ain't the first one that's ever been made. The only problem is that this clone started learning about things it's not supposed to. If anything, you've only doomed her. You gave her a life. Don't you think that's selfish? You let her experience things she's not supposed to. You say that. You say that like this is all supposed to be normal. That's twisted. You just create life and then you destroy it so easily? Well, tell me, what gives you the right to play God? You know what happens if that thing gets out? What happens to this world? The world where your friends and family live in. This has been going on since before you were even born. So tell me, what gives you the right to change anything? Unless you've got the power to kill the beast, then by all means, go for it. If you've got a better answer, then tell me. I'm done with this farce, Mayumi would say. We're leaving. You will take care of this, Dominic. Understood, milady. Please, Ren, just go. I promise you it's okay. I'm going to be... No! I'm not going to leave you, Iumi. As the car would speed off, Ren would chase after them only to be stopped. As the man known as Dominic Dominic Suabuki would stomp on the ground, causing Ren to stumble over, as jagged rocks would come protruding from the ground, shooting towards him. In this line of work, kid, I have had to do a lot of things I'm not proud of. I would really like to keep killing children off of that list. I'm going after them. You can't stop me. The thing is, I can and I will. Look, for your own sake, turn around, go home, walk away. Forget about her. I promise. It'll be a lot easier for you and for everyone. Just turn the other way. Ren's body would begin to heat up. He could feel his skin starting to change. He couldn't do it. He could never do it. Even if everyone said it was the right thing to do. The righteous flames that burned within Ren Kanagi. The flames that cried when injustice was committed. It could not turn a blind eye to treachery and evil. And this was nothing but evil. Ren's skin would change to black as a radiant aura would form around him. As Ren began to transform, he remembered the last time he entered into this state. It was when he was training over a year ago with his father, Genma. They were in a sparring match and it got intense. Genma, wanting to push his son, ended up pushing him just a little too far. For Ren, he didn't fully remember what happened after that moment. The only thing he could remember was waking up in his room, bandaged greatly. His father warning him to never use this technique. It was incomplete, and it was just as dangerous to him as to his opponent. For 3 months, his father wore his arm in wristband tape. He had been hurt severely, even though fire wasn't supposed to do any lasting harm to a Kanagi, and eventually it healed. But the fact that his father had his arm wrapped for 3 months, it always made Ren question, what could he have done to push his father that far? Well, now he was about to find out. I'm sorry, Ren would say. I really don't want to do this. Me neither, kid. What's your name? I am Ren. Ren Kanagi. The name's Dominic. Dominic Suabuki. But my title is the Avalanche. Do you have a title, kid? No. I haven't been given one. Well, I got one for you. Sunspot. Sunspot? Your fire, it's not like any other Kanagis I've ever seen. It truly radiates like the sun, as if you were kissed by it. I see. You're not going to get out of my way, are you? As a servant to the Suabuki, I cannot. You either walk away or you die. I'm sorry about this, Dominic, but the only one that's going to die here is you. This concludes Kaze no Stigma, Stigma of Winter. What if Kazuma was Iceman? Season 1, Part 5. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that's to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned on Monday as we continue with Kaze no Stigma, Stigma of Winter. What if Kazuma was Iceman? Season 1, Part 6. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.